this demo, I'm going to take you through the second part of Lab 6. For the midterm, we just did the geo referencing of images in that particular lab. So what we're going to do now is go through and show you how to digitize. So first thing I'm going to do is I've downloaded the labs. So I'm going to go to the Lab 6 folder. We have a zipped file. You want to take everything and copy it out of the zipped file into the folder. So if you look up here, you should only have your folder listed in this file path. We want the data to be right inside the folder, no further in than that. Let's take a look at what we have here. You've seen some of this before. This is the lab. We're going to be ultimately creating a couple of these features that are listed in the lab sheet. On page 2, there's some instruction on how to digitize areas with holes. That's going to be important. And also some typical digitizing errors that you can see here. A hole is an area within an area that can be either the same type of feature or it could be a different type of feature. So for example, if we look at the state of Florida, Lake Okeechobee, it's quite a large lake, and if we were using or making a calculation that determined or used land mass area, you wouldn't want to include the lake in there. For example, population density, you wouldn't want to use the area covered by Lake Okeechobee in that kind of a calculation because it would negatively influence and bias the number the result that you would get out of the formula. So we have the lab. We have a image here, P-State crop geotiff. It's a geotiff image. That's the town of P-State in the northern Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. I worked there doing some dissertation work and also doing my master's work. You're going to digitize some features on that. You've seen USA Southeast Base TIFF. That's just Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. We're going to georeference that quick and digitize that. And we have US sample. I included US sample TIFF in here, but I use it rarely. We have a folder here, and if I double left click on this folder, you'll see this .dbf file extension. That's a database file. This is an Esri ArcGIS shapefile. And shapefiles stay inside the folder. You never go further than the folder when you're extracting data. And we also finally have Yucatan 3 MDB, a Microsoft Access database. Okay, to get started on this lab, let's go ahead and open GeoMedia. And we're going to do a blank Geo workspace. As always, you want to maximize your map window area. Let's make a connection to US sample. So warehouse new connection. Once again, remember everything goes in your lab folder, US sample. And we're going to browse. We're not going to take the default. That's the warehouse file on your C drive. It's on the D drive on this computer because originally it had a small stationary hard drive, which I've changed out. So there's US sample there. We'll open that. Okay. And all we're going to do is display by add legend entry states. So there's the states. If you'll remember, USA Southeast Base TIFF covers this area right here, those states. So what we want to do is we want to, number one, make some room that we can insert that image interactively out here in the Atlantic Ocean. And then we're going to georeference it quickly. You should know how to do that by now. So I'm going to pan and push the map over, these features over to the west in the map window. And we're going to make a new warehouse. So warehouse, new warehouse. Here you take the default. It's a normal Microsoft Access database template, new. You do not save it in the warehouse folder. Go back to your project or lab folder. And let's name this one Southeast. This may not necessarily follow the naming conventions that are in the lab, but I'm just demoing this. So I'm not going to really do the entire lab anyways with you, but it'll give you something to refer to, some kind of instructional video to refer to. Okay, now we're going to insert an interactive image. So you're going to insert interactive image, you browse, go to your folder, which is Lab 6, open it up, and we're going to insert US Southeast Base TIFF by left-clicking on it, open, and we don't want to put it in US Sample, we want to put it in Southeast. These are all the little details that you need to remember, and we're going to call it Southeast Base, and it can't have any spaces, TIFF, okay? Left-click OK. Now you notice that my selection arrow has turned to just a crosshair, and I'll left click and hold, draw my box, and there's the southeastern United States TIFF. Now we have to georeference this. You know how to georeference this. We demoed this before, so I'm going to do this very quickly. I'm going to left click to highlight it. How do I know it's highlighted? It has a green boundary around it. Then I'm going to go up here to Tools and slip down to Image Registration. If you don't get a new button, that means you haven't highlighted this TIFF. I'm going to move this off to the side and left click on the new button, and we're going to name it Southeast, just to keep track of it, and add points by left clicking on the Add Point button. Now, you'll notice that I have a crosshair with the snap tolerance circle in the center. This georeferencing is image to feature, or attribute with no geometry to attribute with geometry. So you're always clicking on the image first. I'm going to do this very fast by left clicking up in that corner, right there, left click. You'll notice a little 1 appeared. I'm going to go up here till I get that icon, left click, 1 there. Now left click here, South Carolina, North Carolina. I'm going to go to South Carolina, North Carolina. Get that, left click. I'm probably a little off there, but I don't care. Left click here, left click here, left click here, and left click here. Okay, we have 4 points. Double left click in the white space. We don't have a bad RMS error. See, most of these are the same. The errors, the residuals are the same. Let's just tell it to register. And the image pops over there. If we want to see how good it is, let's double left click in the symbol here. Change the color to red so we can see it. And let's thicken it up to about 2. Apply, OK, and just shove it above the image by left clicking and holding. I'm a little off up here, so I'm going to fix that quickly because I did sort of mess it up. I'm going to left click to highlight, and I'm going to go up here to Tools, go down to Image Registration. I'm a perfectionist. And we're going to edit that for a moment. And what we need to do is, I know that there's point 2. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to delete point 2 and I'm going to add a point. I'm going to go into here now, and right here's the problem. I'm going to left click right out there. I want to kind of stay away from, and then go down here and left click. So you notice I hit the image first, and the 4. Let's zoom all the way out again to fit screen, double left click and tell it to register. And now you notice it pulled it in better. If you wanted to correct this anymore, you could go up and add a point in here somewhere and get it perfect, but it's not a perfect world for a demonstration, and I'm too lazy to do that. I'm going to turn this off and fit all. Now, if we wanted to output this to a GeoTIFF, we left click to highlight it. You'll notice it's green again. Warehouse, output to GeoTIFF. And we need to find the folder where we're going to put it. So we're going to go to C drive, Lab06, and I'm going to just left click once on here because we're going to rename it Southeast Base GeoTIFF and save. GeoTIFF tags written successfully. Okay, let's turn this off, display off, so there's nothing in here, and go to Insert Georeferenced Image, leave it automatic, browse. We're going to go to our folder on the C drive. Just highlight the folder, and here's the GeoTIFF image that we created, USA Southeast Base. Left click on the arrow to the right, it puts it over here. If you get an error message here saying that it's not georeferenced image, it's not a georeferenced image and you've done something wrong. We're going to put it in, devil's in the details, not US sample, Southeast, and we're going to call it Southeast Base GeoTIFF this time. You cannot name a feature the same name, and we'll add the new feature. Okay, and there it is. That's a GeoTIFF. Now I actually could just delete this one, and I will, and leave the states on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create 4 features in the Southeast Base warehouse. So we go to Warehouse, Feature Class Definition, highlight Southeast, left click New. The first feature we're going to create is states. It's an area feature. Okay. You're going to get this warning all the time that the feature class must have a primary key attribute. That's actually over in the left. It keeps track of how many attributes or features there are in a table. It's generally numerical, and it's auto number. Let GeoMedia deal with that. Yes. So there it is. There's our states feature now. Left click on Southeast again, New, and we're going to do states underscore by underscore face. You'll see why later. That's an area feature as well. Remember all the details. Yes. Okay. Next one, New, and it's going to be lakes. It's an area feature. Okay. Yes. So now we have lakes. And finally, New, boundary. It's a line feature, so change this to line. Okay, yes, okay. So now we have the 4 features that are in your lab. A boundary, a lakes feature, a states, and a states by face. In the states, highlight states feature and left click on the edit button. Under the attributes tab, left click, and right below ID1, left click once, left click back in on top of attribute 1 and type name. We're going to create an attribute so we can name it. It's a text attribute and it's 50 characters. That's plenty. Okay. Do the same thing for states by face. Highlight it. Edit. Attributes tab. Left click once under ID1. Left click a second time right there where it says attribute 1. Name. And we'll leave it text feature. Okay. The lab asks you to name the lakes. I'm not going to do that. I'm lazy tonight. Close. Okay, so now we're ready to digitize. So I'm going to go through just a quick example demonstration of how you digitize. We'll digitize at least one area with a hole, and show you how to digitize the lake. Now, here's the key points of digitizing. Number one, don't left click, hold the button, and drag it around like that. That's not what you want to do. You want to left click where you want a vertex, left click again where you want a vertex, left click again where you want a vertex. When you're digitizing polygons, you have to retrace the line. So if I was digitizing across here, number one, we want to put a node or vertex here, maybe a vertex there, a vertex there, a vertex there, and a vertex there. Why is that? If you keep clicking along here, you're going to have to find all of them when you're retracing the line. So in this particular exercise, we're being sort of abstract and generalizing about this. So let's go ahead and show some features. I'm going to add a legend feature. I'm going to add states, and I'm going to add lakes already, and click OK. Now they appear in the legend, but there's no features created yet in those tables, so they're not going to appear there. But for states, I'm going to double left click, and I'm going to make the boundary red. I know that violates topographic or cartographic principles, but that's just the way it's going to be for now. And make it about 1.75 thick. And actually, let's go ahead and fill that with silver. Okay, lakes, double left click on that. I want a dark blue boundary, and we'll fill it light blue. So that's what they're going to look like once we digitize them. Okay, let's start digitizing. To digitize, you click Insert Feature. You'll notice over here, this may appear as a drop down and push down your data window here. But over here, you'll notice we got a drop down and it's blue, so it's asking for something. It's asking what feature you want to digitize. We're going to expand southeast, and we're going to do states by highlighting states. You'll notice now that I have the crosshair again with a snap tolerance. Now, below this are the states. So there's lots, if we roll around on here, we might get some problematic snapping. So what we're going to do is I'm going to right click on states, locatable off, and that's going to be helpful. We shouldn't have too much of a trouble anymore. You can use the pan, you can use the zoom in, zoom out. You can use those, and when you're finished with those particular tools, you either right click on your mouse to get back into digitizing mode or hit the escape key. Don't hit the escape key while you're in digitizing mode though, or it'll take you out of it. So I'm going to left click here, and I'm going to just say left click repetitively as I'm clicking along. Left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, left, and let's take this left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, and I'm going to left click once more, right click, end feature, and that's Arkansas. Click OK. So there's Arkansas. Let's do Louisiana. It has a hole in it. Although this is Pontchartrain, and it is actually, it's a bay. It's not really a lake because it's open. But we're calling it a lake, and we're going to close off Louisiana there. Okay, so I've got the magnifying zoom in glass. I'm going to hit escape key. And now you'll notice that when I go to the corner, I get my icon, my node icon, and I'm tracing along this line. I'm kind of staying on the line. I get the icon again, so I left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, left, 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 left. We don't want to do too much of this detail. Left, 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 and I'm not clicking a lot. Left. Now, this is my last click. I'm going to hold the, as the instructions say, Control Alt left click. You'll notice now that that polygon boundary was following me around, but now it's loose again. And I can start here again and left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, right click, end feature. And that's Louisiana. It defaults on the attribute name. Okay, and click OK. Now you notice there's a hole here. That Control Alt left click is very important. What's the utility of that? Suppose you were digitizing the Carolinas, or even for that matter, Louisiana in detail, and there's a lot of barrier islands. You can Control Alt left click and draw all the barrier islands because they're part of the state. So they're territory of the state, they're landmass of the state, and they have to be included in the state. Let's go ahead now and do Mississippi. Okay, you notice I'm going to left click right there when I catch that node. I'm going to retrace this. You should follow the line. Once you get the icon that you're on a node, and sometimes it's difficult to see, left click, left click. Now you can see why you wouldn't want to put a lot of nodes in here. Here's where you have an intersection. You have to do that. Left click, 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 right click, end feature. This is Mississippi. Okay? I'm going to hit escape to get out of the digitizing mode now, and I'm going to turn off the GeoTIFF just display off. Fit all. There's my 3 states. If I want to insert a label, I could insert label, label features in, southeast, states, name. Let's leave it center. I'm not going to fool with it, and click OK. There's your label that you typed in. Now we're going to insert a lake. We're going to actually trace around this opening. How do we do that? Well, why don't you zoom in, right click, insert feature. Instead of states, select lake. Now watch. There's the icon. Trace along the line. Icon. Left click. Left click. Left click. Left click. Right click. End feature. So now you have a lake in there. Don't insert any more vertices or nodes, whichever you wish to call them, than you need. So now you can see we have this nice map, and if you fill it, you can drill in and see there's no slivers between these particular states. And that's important because what you're doing is you're preserving the topology between these states. So the boundaries are preserved. They share those particular arcs. So that's the first type of digitizing you're going to do. You remember you have to retrace every shared boundary. The next way to do this, next method, I show you, you won't have to retrace because we're going to draw a series of lines that represent boundaries. So we're going to, for example, draw Arkansas, and then we're going to draw Louisiana, but we're just going to draw the boundary of Louisiana to there, not retrace that. We'll draw this lake in here. We don't have to Control Alt, left click. And then we'll draw Mississippi by drawing from here to here and only to there. And then we're going to ask the computer to identify those areas as states by face. It's much more efficient, less time involved, and if you have thousands of polygons to digitize, You'll want to do it by inserting area by face, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to turn these off, turn off the lakes, turn off the labels, and actually I should make everything here non-locatable. So turn the locatable off. Let's turn the image back on. And now we're going to insert an image. So insert feature. Sorry, we're going to insert feature, not image. And we're going to insert a boundary. So before we do that, let's go ahead and add a legend entry, and let's add the boundary in there. And let's make it big and green, some other color that we can see, so we know we've drawn it. And 2.5 apply. Okay, so it's there. Left click. This is just a little bit different. Left click, left click. You have to make sure you get any intersection. You have to put a node. Left click, left click, left click, left, 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 left. And now you'll notice when I get up here to this corner where it's going to share a node, instead of having that mountain with the little point on top, now we have just a stick with a point on top. So left click once, right click, end feature. And you're not naming this because it's just a boundary. Okay, now we're going to do Louisiana. So I left click. I have to maintain the topology between the boundaries. So I have to catch that corner. Left click. Left, left, left. I'm going to get real sloppy here. Left, 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 left. Now watch this. Go right to there, left click, right click, end feature. Okay. Once again, we're not naming it. Let's go ahead and draw the lake. Left, 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 left. And I have that icon again, left, right click, end feature. Okay. So you see that? Got the lake in there. And it's not a lake. It's not a hole. It's nothing. It's just another line. Okay, here. You'll notice why I put an intersection in here. Why I put a node at the intersection. I got to catch that. Left click. What you're doing is maintaining the coincidence of these features, left, left, because GeoMedia has to identify them. It has to identify each one of these as a distinct boundary. Left click, right click, end feature. Okay. Now you see this line here? I'm not really happy with that. I'm going to get that in a second. I'll do one more state, Alabama. Left click, left, 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 left. There, we got the icon. Left click, right click, end feature. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm out of digitizing mode. I'm going to left click on Louisiana. It's highlighted. This is why you really don't want to do things, many features in green. I'm going to left click on Edit Geometry button, and I'm just going to left click and dig in with that. Left click and hold and push it up, and then hit the pointer, select arrow, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I have now, if I fit all and I turn off, I have these particular states, just a boundary feature. Let me just change this to another color because it's going to get a little confusing. Let's do them in red too. Okay, so there they are. Now what we're going to do is left click and hold, and we're going to fence them all off until they're highlighted. You see they're all highlighted now. Then we're going to go up to Insert Area by Face. We're going to select under Southeast States by Face. Now here you have a decision. Ignore holes. That means that it would create a feature here and this hole would go away. It wouldn't leave a hole. Include holes means it'll create this feature and leave this as a hole. Include holes as features means it'll create this feature, and it'll create another feature here, and it'll be the same feature as the feature that encloses it. What would that be like? Well, how about Lesotho, which is an enclave, a sovereign enclave inside South Africa. So that's what that could kind of be. But because this is a lake, it has to be a hole. So left click to include holes. Once you click OK, you'll notice that Arkansas lit up. So we're going to call it Arkansas. Click OK. Mississippi lit up. Louisiana, and you'll notice we got our hole. If one of these doesn't show up, you didn't connect these. And Alabama. Okay. So those states by face, let's change them to dark blue and fill them and display off, fit all. Now, here's an issue with the lab. I should have had you do lakes 1 and lakes 2, because if we digitize another lake and put it in here, 9 chances out of 10 you didn't draw this exactly like you drew it in the first, so it's not going to look good. So I'm very quickly going to create a new feature class definition under here, southeast, new. I'm going to call it lakes 2. Oops, 2. And it's an area feature. Okay, yes, close. And I'm going to insert feature, go down here to lakes 2, left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, right click, and oops, no, end feature. Ahead of myself here. And then I'm going to change that to the same color convention as we had before. Ooh, close. And hit escape. Add insert labels. Instead of states, it's states by face, name, okay. There you go. So, which one's quicker? Which one's less complicated? Inserting areas by face. So, we're finished with this. I'm going to go to File, Save Geo Workspace, go to my folder on the C drive, Lab06, and save it as Lab Weinmiller, Lab06. One of those days, 6B. Let's just call it, no, A2. All right, save. Okay, so that's that part. I'm going to turn all this off. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is create a new map window. New map window, and we'll create it empty. You've never seen this done before. This is pretty cool. Okay, so we have a new map window 2. And I'm going to have a warehouse, new connection, and access, and we'll call it Yucatan. Now this is part B. Browse. We're going to go to the C drive, Lab06, and Yucatan 3, open, OK. Legend, add legend entry. And under Yucatan, there's the country. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to insert a georeferenced image. So insert georeferenced images, automatic, browse, go to the C drive, Lab06, OK, and we want P-State crop geotip tip. Left click, put it over there, and we're going to put it in Access Yucatan. So it's in the correct, and let's call it just P-Stay GeoTIFF. Left click and add legend entry. If you don't put a left click here, trust me, it won't put a legend entry and you'll be wondering what's going on. Left click, apply, actually puts it in there, and OK, and close, and it's right there. Barely see it, but it's there. How do you get to it? Just display off on the country and fit all. There it is. Okay, let's make a couple features here. Let's make warehouse. Well, let's make a new warehouse quick. New warehouse, new. And we're in the right folder. Let's call it P-Stay for the warehouse. Okay, let's make some features in there. Warehouse, feature class definition, P-Stay, new. Let's call one round structure. And it's an area. And let's call a new one just structure. It's an area. And once again, this is asking the primary key. And let's finally make one new street. And it's a line feature. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to zoom in and start digitizing. That's all you're going to do on this lab. But let's take this structure here. You see how this is typical Latin American kind of structure. It's a rectangular structure, but it has an atrium in the roof. So we're going to have to leave some holes in there. So we're going to insert feature. Now I have to get in the right connection, and we're going to go structure. I'm going to left click, left click, left click. I'm going to ready to left click here, Control Alt left click, left click, left click, left click, Control Alt left click. And I'm going to have to zoom in for that last one. Left click, left click, left click, left click, right click, end feature. Okay. There's the structure. Let's fill it and give it a decent boundary. Kind of like that. Let's just make that color. Okay. So we have that structure. Okay, let's go ahead and insert another type of structure. Let's find, there's a round structure right there. Insert feature, round structure, and instead of point by point, place by circle. You see that up there? I'm going to left click and hold. Oops, left click and draw it out. I kind of screwed up. I'm going to just cancel this feature. Yes. Left click again and draw it. Just let go. Don't hold, left click and hold, but let left click right in the center. Let go. Once you get out to the circumference of it, left click one more time and OK. So there's a round feature. Double left click and let's make them blue. Fill them with a brown roof. Ooh. Wow. Okay. And you can see we're placed by circle, by center point. That's what we're doing. Okay, we're going to escape out. We're going to end. Okay. So now I want to zoom out and catch some streets. Escape. We're going to insert feature. Instead of round structure, let's do streets. How do we do streets? Just left click, draw the line. This is, by the way, how a lot of municipalities and governments end up with vector data for the streets and towns. And there, now I got that. You see that little post end feature? Okay, I think I missed it. Left click, end feature. Now I got it. Okay, and these are all line segments, so we're doing the edge of the streets. These are streets through here. They're just little alleyways. The whole place is a huge alleyway, by the way. Peace Day is a city that an anthropologist wrote has no culture. Left click, left click, left click. Trust me, it doesn't have a culture. Okay, so we're getting some street data. These are all Maya houses, by the way. Some of them are contemporary homes, and some of them are traditional apsidal houses. Okay, we've got some streets in there. Let's go ahead and color them. Blue, just so we can see them. Make them a little thicker. Escape. Okay, so what would happen when you were done with this? Well, when you were done with this, you turn this off, and you would have street pattern with digitized buildings and whatever else. That's part B. So File, Save Geo Workspace. I created Map Window 2. When you do this, you're going to save the Geo Workspace and create a brand new Geo Workspace. That's the end of this lab, so we're going to close all of this up. We're going to go back to Weinmiller Lab 6. We're not going to zip all this up. We're going to, actually we could take that out. That's the data, so left click and delete that. So clean that out. Go back one till you see your folder, right click, send to compressed folder. And it's going to name it with the same convention. Now, depending on your machine and the operating system, you may have to have it put this on the desktop. Sometimes administrative privileges will not permit you to write a file to the C drive.